to Notier's Frontiers Diaries. Today, since we will be leaving Africa in just 2 days,
dun, dun, dun.
we decided to do an ode to African roads. So basically it's like a tribute video of lots of different roads that we've been down and all the adventures that we've had on these incredible roads. And the first one that we'll talk about is, we'll kind of go in like chronological order. So we started our journey in South Africa. So the first one's in South Africa, and
we landed in Cape Town and we took the southern coast, which was really nice, but I really wanted, we had just come from South America prior, and I was looking for that, that nitty-gritty wilderness that we really enjoyed throughout South America. And our first true bite of that in South Africa was
the Bavians.
The Bavians. Bavians Kloof or Bavians Kloof.
I'm not sure we're saying it right, but I think it means Baboon Valley in Afrikaans.
I'm sure we're saying it wrong, but I'm sure that it means Valley of the Baboons.
There were definitely baboons there.
It's just this strip of road that runs east to west, west to east, and so it's a one-way ticket pretty much. You can go in and suck back out, but we wanted to go all the way through. There's mixed reviews from a lot of people because there's certain sections of it that get completely submerged by water if it's rained a lot.
Yeah, it really all depends on the day that you go, I think.
Yeah, there's seasons, and then within those seasons there's days. So it can be the dry season on a rainy day, it can be the rainy season on a dry day.
And we've been getting the weather reports for days beforehand and kind of anxious about it, like, is it going to be too flooded? Because once you go in and you get so far, and you get to these water crossings, if you can't cross it, you just have to go back.
Well, then the water crossings from west to east, the water crossing is the very last thing that you do. We've seen a lot of other people, it's the first thing they do, but I didn't want to go all the way around, and so we just went from west to east.
Yeah,
and
fingers
we were
crossed.
fairly committed at that point, even though it was a beautiful drive, but we were going to push forward regardless. And what an amazing ride that was.
Incredible. Not only were the washouts and river crossings just super fun.
Yeah, they were the perfect amount. They were enough to get a cool splash and know you're, ankle deep in water. Some of them was really deep. Marisa would jump off to get cool footage of me. But
then at the very end of it, it had these mountains, and it had these two little concrete tracks that were for 4x4 vehicles to go on. And so on a motorcycle, it was a little tricky because you just pick one of those tracks.
I mean, you just got to follow
stay on it like a balance beam.
Exactly, like a balance beam. It's this deteriorating little narrow section. You can't really ride off of it because then it'd be a barrier for your tire every time. Whatever. It was. But
the views were amazing.
It was fantastic.
That was really cool.
That made my heart skip a couple beats, and I was very thankful that was our introduction to what Africa truly had to offer.
The next road was in a country that's within South Africa called Lesotho. That was just an incredible country to go to on a motorcycle, no matter what, because the roads through the mountains, they were just so amazing, twisty, the views.
There's diamond mines, there's, dirt roads and gravel roads that cut through the valleys. It's called the Kingdom of the Sky, and I like to, I always mentally pictured it as like a physical crown kind of stuck within South Africa, because there's just these mountain ranges, these peaks that just encircle you, you know.
Yeah, they even have a ski resort there.
There's a ski resort.
It can get pretty high altitude and also pretty cold. We really lucked out with the weather, but our favorite and also most hated road of Lesotho.
Most interesting.
Yes, most interesting road for us personally, because we did something not too intelligent there.
Says we, which is very kind.
Was the road to Maletsunyani Falls.
And it was an adventure all in itself getting there. The road was beautiful, the sights were beautiful. You know, we went and saw Katse Dam.
Katse Dam.
And gas, there are a couple major towns in Lesotho, but gas in the inner portions of Lesotho was kind of more rare. But everybody rides around these little small motorcycles, so you know there's gas somewhere. And a lot of people have just gas in gallons. So the way there, we had to utilize pulling over and trying to, you know, ask for gas. In South Africa, just about everybody spoke English, or you can get away with just knowing English. In Lesotho, that convenience got cut in about half. And so asking for gas, you know, you have to ask for petrol. But
Lesotho was really interesting because it contrasted so much with South Africa. South Africa is a super multicultural place. It's got people from all over the world there. It's just been a melting pot of different cultures, a lot of European influence as well. Whereas Lesotho, I feel like it was very historically protected by its mountains.
I feel like it's like Wakanda with an invisible, you know, force field that
That's
you know,
it, 100%.
Within you know you're in a different country. And
yeah, and their cloaks were so cool. A lot of people there are pastoralists and they're herders of cattle and sheep, and they would have these beautifully made cloaks. I mean, they just looked like superheroes.
It was really, really cool. And so as we wound our way to
Maletsunyani Falls,
we went down and went to this one canyon where we didn't know where we were, but we're going off road and we're going towards this big gorge in the earth, and wherever it may lead is a cool picture. And we got to this one spot, and there's a beautiful view. We're not much of hikers, so I didn't want to walk down this cliff face. Then we got back on the motorcycle, followed the road to where they were building the observatory.
like a viewpoint.
Yeah,
Place?
yeah. Observatory, I suppose, is for stars and such.
I think so.
An observing place. But
Yes.
and then there was this hole in the fence and this little dirt path that wound its way down, and so we took that, not knowing if we should be or not, but it led to an amazing view with the waterfalls in the distance. Mm-hmm. And then this is where I got the brilliant idea of there was, like, we were somewhere flat and level and other people had been there before, and then there were like these tiered sheetrock shelves that stepped down to the very cliff's edge, and then in the distance there was absolutely nothing, and then this beautiful waterfall. So I wanted to get down to the last ledge of this sheetrock steps, and getting down was fairly easy. And
I think getting down was too easy is the problem.
Yeah.
Because it was all very loose and very steep, and so it just kind of
gravity
lent
helped, and I have wheels, and so I just
Yeah.
kind of bunked my way down, and then turned to face horizontal for an awesome picture. And then trying to get back up, I now had to get the rear of my bike down another step so the front of my bike was face upwards, and then I figured I'd just gas it and happily plod my way up the hill. That did not happen.
No,
There's
it was really scary. I mean, I definitely feared for your life. I was so nervous that you were going to die.
Yeah, the back tire slid out and lost traction, and the bike was falling back. I slid about 5 feet before I dumped the bike,
Yeah,
just
that was
to
smart.
stop it from rolling backwards more. And then we can just reassess the situation and figure out what the next thing we're going to do.
I thought you were just going to fall off that cliff. I thought, that's it. My husband is gone.
Yeah, it'd be a good way to go. But, I didn't, so
Thankfully,
good or bad.
yeah, we were able to get out of that. It took a long time. It was
It
super
did.
stressful.
We unloaded the bike even more. We had, already taken some stuff off, but we got it down to the bare weight that it could be. Lifted it up. There's some tricky sections of having to try to get the rear tire to grip, but with
it worked out
enough
in the
effort,
end.
we did ride off into success.
So for those of you who are more willing to not fall off the cliff than we were, it's a perfect place to go.
It was fantastic.
Just don't get too close to that very steep edge,
But,
and
yeah, I tried
it's
to
an
make-
incredible road.
I tried to make a mental note not to get that close to cliff edges anymore.
But then, not too long after that, when we were in Namibia, we went to Fish River Canyon. Which is like the Grand Canyon of Africa. It's incredible. It's so beautiful, but there's this road that goes right along the edge of it.
It's not like in the States. In the States, I'm sure there's sections of the Grand Canyon where you can ride out to and ride on the edge of it. But like the tourist spots and where they prefer you to ride is well within the realm of safety. And those same rules and safety standards don't necessarily apply in Namibia.
That's right. So we were just allowed to ride right along the edge, and I was quite scared.
Let's stand on that ledge.
I don't like it. But
Yeah,
it was
I mean,
beautiful.
there was a main road 20 feet from the ledge, and then there was another secondary road that was just gravel that was on the edge of the canyon. But it was beautiful. I was very safe. It wasn't as irresponsible.
Yeah,
and
that one worked out, and it is just stunning out there. And also the road to get there was beautiful. We saw lots of oryxes. Those are those beautiful antelope with those straight horns, just out in the desert. It's all gorgeous reddened desert out there. So that's a really great place to ride the motorcycle.
no, it was definitely another impression that I will not forget for many a day.
Oh, and then there was Botswana.
That was
The road with the elephants.
Wakiniona nikipanda ngazi, watasema kama mama alisema, huyo anainuka, anaangaza haki, huyo anainuka, anaangaza.
So the other roads are like, Africa's back roads, right? The Bavians was definitely some off-road madness, and Lesotho. But Botswana, you can have, it's this perfectly pristine paved asphalt road.
Just perfectly straight. Nothing really exciting about it, to be fair.
Oh no, it's still beautiful. I mean, you got, you know, like wilderness on either side.
That's true. But
And
it's pretty
then-
flat, no mountains or canyons.
But there's elephants. There's
Yeah.
elephants just everywhere. Just
So
like
many
more than there's
elephants.
deer in Minnesota. I mean, it was just amazing. You know?
Yeah, right on the side of the road. Of course, you have to be very careful. You know, if you come across a bull elephant and he's having a bad day,
Yeah.
this could, you know, be very bad for you on a motorcycle. But
For the most
fortunately,
part,
we were just
yeah.
fine.
We don't-
kept our distance.
I often get us into stupid scenarios, but when Marissa's on the motorcycle, she's, you know, she's the captain, even though I'm the pilot. But you know, so getting very close to the elephants, I have a natural instinct not to do so, and Marissa also agrees that appreciating them from afar, babar from afar, is just good enough.
But they're so majestic and incredible. Like, you just are drawn to get closer to them.
Yeah. To a point, and then
yeah.
they flare out their ears, and then you're like, respect is due.
Yes.
And we're gonna go that
going.
way. You can go wherever you want, but just general information, we're going that way.
And people out there really warn you not to ride at night because they say somehow these elephants just get camouflaged.
Well, they're huge, but they just perfectly blend in with the night background. Our destination was a place called Elephant Sands, which had both
yeah.
elephants and sand.
It did. It had
And
quite a bit
It had
of
a
sand.
pool too, which was amazing.
But basically, these elephants are wild. And they just
Yeah.
come there because it's a well-known water hole
It's a
for
watering
the
hole.
elephants.
And you can camp there. I mean, in South Africa and in Africa in general, motorcycle camping is pretty low versus like the States and the Americas.
It's definitely not as popular.
Yeah, what a lot of people do is they have these camper trucks, these 4x4s, and in the bed they have, you know, like a super duper little, what are they called? I don't even know.
Like a
Sleeping
pop-up
compartments.
tent?
Yeah, pop-up tents that go on top of these 4x4s.
That's pretty much the way people do their travels here in Africa.
Well,
It's a lot more rare to be on a motorcycle.
yeah, all these sandy roads and gravel roads and washed out roads that, you know, we always talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And a 4x4, they're still fun, but there's no like, oh, we might get stuck here and be here for 3 days. But in Elephant Sands, you have the option of pulling your large vehicle up and camping just on this outside ring perimeter where the elephants walk by to this watering hole. And we were on a motorcycle, but we had the same opportunity. But you just don't feel like you have that same fortification, you know? I mean, it just...
I think it's a lot scarier seeing an elephant from a motorcycle than from a car.
Yeah.
Where you have windows and doors.
But when we camped that night as well, like we were in a tent and other people were in cars, and
Right.
you know, there was we weren't complete idiots. There was a protective barrier where they had like little concrete spikes with rebar
But
sticking
really,
up.
that was only around the bathrooms because what the elephants
They
are
want
after
water.
is water. So they have to really fortify the bathrooms and any place that
We
has
had
running water.
a very nice sturdy log that we put in front of our tent. Everybody knows elephants hate logs, but it was amazing. And that night, you know, we woke up at 1 a.m. or something to tusks just, you know, dink
They were
dink
fighting.
dink dinking.
Yeah, you can hear this low rumble.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
it was really an amazing experience. So the asphalt roads with elephants lining them, that led to the special place Elephant Sands, that close-up view appreciation. You can, you know, sit in a pool and watch elephants drink water and drink a beer. Just a very unique situation.
Unbelievable. And that's just some of the incredible things and roads that you can find here in Africa.
Yeah, and there's like 20 or 30 that you could fit in between those specific ones we just covered.
Absolutely.
But we'll try to get to some more next
Yeah,
time.
in our next video. I hope you liked this one. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below. And stick around for our next video on Ode to African Roads Part 2. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Peace.